Hi, this is Emily Arnold, and this is my classroom management plan. Daily schedule. I would like my daily schedule to be like a routine, and obviously the daily schedule will depend on the entire school schedule. As for my observation classroom, their schedule was really tight, and I think that's really great for time management and not letting any time be wasted. They had Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That was pretty much all the same routines and pretty much the same schedule, except their activities would be switched between PE, library, music, art, and computer lab. Their routine or their schedule was usually something like their morning routine from 7:50 to 8:20. Then they would have math in the mornings from 8:20 to 9:30. Then interventions from 9:30 to 10:10, and then an activity from 10 to 10 or from 10:10 to 10:50, and then phonics and reading, and then they would go to lunch and so on and so forth. Classroom jobs. Having jobs in the classroom is a great way to teach responsibility. Many students love this because it gives them a purpose. I want to have as many jobs as I can in my classroom and switch them around so that each student can try each different job. I just love having jobs in the classroom, and I've seen it in both of the classes that I've observed since I began studying elementary education, and it just makes the class have a better community and trust for each other. Class rules. For my class, I do not want to have a long list of do's and don'ts. This means having tons of rules that students probably don't even remember and that they will get confused. I honestly just want to have like 4 or 5 certain rules that will be implemented throughout the year, every day, throughout everything we do. I want to be consistent and there will be no confusion. The 4 that I can think of right now would be listen, be kind, be respectful, and be responsible. These are very simple and to the point. There's no confusion. I could write out, keep your hands and feet to yourselves, but that just falls under being kind and being respectful. Class consequences. As for class consequences, I have seen Class Dojo being used in many different classrooms, and I honestly love it. It can be used as positive reinforcement and helps use the behaviorism theory of class management, and I honestly think that that's the best theory for me to use. And Class Dojo really just helps positive reinforcement, but can also give them a consequence by taking away points. Here's a video to help show exactly what Class Dojo is.
What makes an amazing classroom? Is it having shiny new desks? Is it that fearless classroom pet in the corner? Or maybe it's something you can't see. Maybe it's about the classroom community you build with students, teachers, and parents. In a classroom where students all work together, persevere through challenges, and help each other out along the way, these moments should never go unnoticed. This year, you'll be using Class Dojo to celebrate those moments in class and share them home. You'll each start with your very own monster. And anytime you show an important skill, like working hard or being creative, your teacher can award you a point on Class Dojo. For those extra exciting moments,
So basically, yes, you can give points for positive reinforcement, and the whole class can see that, yes, they helped with teamwork, so they get points. And that shows that if you're behaving well, you'll get points. And if you are misbehaving, you can also take away points. The other thing I absolutely love about Class Dojo is that it will notify parents right then and there when points are taken away or added. It makes things very clear. And I also will be implementing a clip chart in my future classroom. Um, I honestly love the clip chart. I think it's very simple too, and it's another way for a consequence and just to see how everybody's doing and keep everyone in check. Everybody starts off with ready to learn, and depending on how students are behaving throughout the day, they'll move their clip up for good actions or down for bad actions. These right here are just like these right here. They are some guidelines that I found, and I think that could be useful just as an idea. I mean, obviously these will change depending on the class or how it works for me, but I like this so far. I think that first you should give a verbal warning, saying, hey, you need to be doing what I asked you to be doing. Second, you say, this is the last time I'll warn you before you have to move your clip again, or before you have to move your clip down. You need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if they're still misbehaving, I believe that you should pull them aside and have a chit chat, maybe ask them what's going on, because behavior, in the behavior theory, their environment is what impacts on how they're behaving. Like, they're behaving this way for a certain reason, and the best way to fix that is to get down to the point and see what's going on. Also, this is the third time that I've had to ask them and see what's going on, so they will have to move their clip down to a warning or whatever I end up using in my classroom. That's just moving it down one. That doesn't mean that they were acting horrible that day, and they can move it up depending on how they act the rest of the day. But as far as right now, they're not on a good trail. Fourth, the fourth time I'll have to get on to someone, it's not going to be good. They're going to have to move their clip down again and miss out on a privilege. I don't believe in making children miss out on recess or playtime, because that is a important factor in learning and growth, and they need that time. But I think that they can have some type of technology or other privilege taken away, and they'll be losing points on Class Dojo, so their parents will find out. Their parents will know that they moved their clip down twice that day. And if I have to get onto them for misbehaving for the fifth time, and it's not going to be good, because I'm going to have to call their parents right then and there. I've seen that if you contact the parents right when this happens, there will be no miscommunications, and it'll nip that in the bud. And it's just a great way to let them know from the beginning that if I have to get onto you for the fifth time and you're misbehaving this bad, you've moved your clip down all the way, you've taken off Class Dojo points, it's time to let your parents know that you're not doing good. Classroom routines. I believe that routines are the backbone of daily life in the classroom. If there's any kind of craziness going on, we can always go back to the routines, what we're supposed to be doing, and they're critical in having a controlled classroom. I think it's important that students learn maybe not all of these. Some of these I'll probably use in my classroom, or different types of routines, but for the most part, these are the typical routines of a classroom, and it's important for students to know these so that they know what to do and when they're supposed to do it and how they're supposed to do it. I also plan on having attention getters, and I mention that because that's kind of a routine too. Instead of yelling at your students to listen and focus on you, you can have a fun attention getter that is interactive. Like some of my observation classrooms have used, the teacher will say class, class, and the class will say yes, yes. Or she'll say macaroni, cheese, everybody freeze. This just depends on the grade level, and I just think that it's a fun way to get them to know, like, this is time to focus on the teacher and listen. Seating chart. I personally believe that students should sit in groups. I want them to be social. I want them to be interactive and making friends at school. They're here to learn, but they're also here to be social. Also, I have seating preferences that depends on the school type. I know some schools aren't privileged enough to have flexible seating, but if I can have flexible seating in my classroom, I will. I think it provides a community and a trusting relationship with the entire classroom. With flexible seating, there will have to be rules because it is a privilege. Not a lot of schools or classrooms get to have flexible seating, so it would be really awesome if I had that opportunity. These are just some of the rules that I would probably implement if I did have flexible seating. Group work rules. I feel like my group work expectations just align right back with my rules for the entire classroom. We need to listen to each other. We need to have respect and be responsible. So basically, I'll probably use this GROUPS acronym, but they're basically the same as my normal class rules. Those will always be implemented, but when we work in group works, they do need to know that they need to get along. They need to all participate and stay in your group, and those other basic group work expectations. Communication with parents. Having a strong relationship with each of my future students' parents is extremely important to me. I think communication with parents is so important. I found this little letter that I'll probably send something similar like to all my students' parents, so that we can keep in contact. I also plan on sending home folders each day or each week, letting them know how their student is doing in the class. They also have Class Dojo, like I mentioned earlier, where they can see how they're behaving. And you can also post pictures, and it's basically like a big Facebook for your class on Class Dojo. And then dealing with difficult parents, I know that's just the inevitable. It's going to happen. There's going to be parents that don't agree with me and they don't like me. But I think that's just part of learning, or that's just part of being a teacher. There's going to be difficult times. And I don't think that's something that we can really understand until we go through it and learn through the process. First day activity. So for the first day activity that I've come up with is that obviously on the first day we're going to learn all the rules, everything that I've talked about in this whole entire presentation. Basically, I'm going to teach them and let them know all the procedures, everything that we're supposed to do. And then at the end, I would like to do some type of activity for us to review and see what they remember, and so on and so forth. So I would probably use Kahoot, or if there's anything else that I can find to use that's similar, where we can get on there some type of technology or device where we can have the class go over and review all the procedures, all the rules, everything that we're supposed to do. Also, I found this great activity online that as soon as the students come in on the first day, the teacher, or me, I'll be holding a roll of toilet paper, and I think that would just surprise them, and I'll say, grab some toilet paper, so they'll grab as much as they want or as little as they want, and they'll all just be so confused, like, why am I taking toilet paper? And then the suspense will build up, and basically it'll be like an icebreaker. I'll have them all count how many pieces of toilet paper that they grabbed, and for each piece they will tell a fun fact about themselves, and I think that'll just help as an icebreaker